This headband doesn't want to stay on properly. What is going on? I babbled and couldn't edit a cohesive.
Pretty girl with an ugly smirk. You convince yourself that it's one of my quirks again. Too high, puking shoes.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. I'm gonna do a Becca disclaimer here. If you hear the fan, no you don't. My flat is unusually warm. Anyway, today we are going to be doing a review of Ascendant by Michael R. Miller, which is this beautiful book here. If I look different in the thumbnail, no don't. I haven't filmed this 3 times at all. The first time there was a toilet roll in the background, the second time I couldn't edit a coherent sentence together because I was just babbling, so I've had a bit of time to gather my thoughts. It's been a while since I've read this. The first review I did was like immediately after I finished it, more or less, and that was rambly but more coherent. I don't know what the hell is going on with my brain right now, but anyway, if you are interested in my review, my thoughts, feelings and ponderances, then please stay tuned because this is a ride. A dragon ride. If you know me, you'll know that I love fantasy. I've recently become quite obsessed with acquiring in one form or another indie fantasy books, and there is a hefty list of indie authors I am now interested in, and this popped onto my radar a few months ago. Was it a few months ago? It might have been a bit further back than that. I can't remember. What is time? We know not. But I had shown an interest in this, and then Michael offered to send me a copy for review. So take your time, you know, review it when you can. But then as Defiant was coming out, he said, have you read it yet? Because I can send you book 3. And I was like, no, but it's on my TBR, so I will let you know what I think. And my Jesus God, it is amazing. I am a sucker for found family, wholesome vibes, like Boy and His Dragon done well. This is like a semi-chosen one trope. I don't want to say chosen one because I don't know, chosen one tropes tend to have at times like a negative like stigma around them, and they seem like, oh my god, chosen one trope has been done before, but it's a chosen one but with a difference. So Holt Cook lives in a world where your surname dictates what you are going to be for the rest of your life. So he essentially should be a cook. He's not noble born, he is a servant, he cooks for other people, his dad's a cook, and that's just how he lives his life. But he has better aspirations for himself. Noble born people get to bond with dragons and become dragon riders, and he wants to be a dragon rider. He holds dragon riders on a pedestal, and he thinks they are these amazing people who fight the scourge, which they are great, they are brilliant. You know, they go out and risk their lives to fight the scourge that's been thrust upon them, and they are the only people that can fight it, which is brilliant. But Holt doesn't believe that it should just be noble borns, because he wants to be a dragon rider. He thinks he has the ability to do so. He then meets a very disgruntled ex-dragon rider called Broad, who has a very, I don't know how to word this, his outlook on life and his demeanour is like a grumpy mentor vibes. And immediately when we met him, I'm like, I kind of know where this story is going to go, and this guy's going to be his grumpy mentor, and he was, and he's brilliant. Broad is just the right balance for how eager Holt is to just do everything, and he's like the reasonable side, but he's also quite grumpy, but you could tell that he cares, which is my favourite type of mentor. It's very like, it's all in the fingers. But so Issa is a matriarch, and she's like this big prestigious dragon, and she comes down, and there is this choosing ceremony, and Ash and Holt is under the impression that during this choosing ceremony they basically choose an egg to be part of the dragon riders, and the rest will be wild, because there are wild dragons in this world as well, which I love. Absolutely love that side of it. And he finds out that that's not the case, that basically the dragon sniffs the eggs and they can tell whether it's defective. They don't know how it's defective, they just know that it's not perfect. And to be a dragon, a part of the order, you have to be perfect. So they throw these defected eggs into the sea as rejects. And Ash and Holt doesn't like that idea. So he's asking Rhoda if there's anything they can do. And Rhoda's like, as a rider, you've got to make hard choices. If you want to be a rider, you need to throw one of these eggs into the sea. Go and do it. Make this difficult decision. And Holt can't do it, because as soon as he touches the egg, he feels a warmth from it, he feels a connection to it, and he knows there's something alive inside, and he just can't destroy it. He doesn't want to, so he puts it back and like leaves the room. And then through some happenstance, some circumstances, some five-finger discount type situations, he acquires an egg and then has to hide it because he will be seen as a thief, because only noble borns can have eggs. He's not been picked as part of the order. He's not supposed to have this egg. And then he hatches Ash and finds out what his defect is, and that is that he's blind. And the immediate bond, Ash as a baby dragon, if you just want cuteness bundled up in a book that's just absolutely adorable, like just squishy, you shouldn't really want a squishy dragon, but you know what I mean. He is adorable, and the narrator for this does such a good job of the nuances that he has in the voices, and it's just, it brings the story to life so much more. Like, Michael does a great job of giving you the character development, the world building, the magic system. Oh my god, the magic system, wow. I'll come to that in a second. But then when it's told through like the narrator and he actually brings Ash's voice to life, that is when I really, really feel it. Like, I can, and for me, I read things as a film in my head. So when I don't know what the people sound like, I make things up in my head, and it doesn't always sound the best in my brain. But when I hear it through the narrator's voice and then reading the author's words, it just, immersive reading for me is peak. And if I could afford to do it, I would read every single book I possibly could in like a mixed media format, because it is such a great experience. And when you have a well-written book mixed with a really good narrator, and I will find the name of the narrator and put it down here because I forgot his name right now, but it's just amazing. The magic system in this, brilliant. Each dragon that's born has a different type of magic, and in order to determine what kind of magic they have, or that they are more like inclined to, like, each dragon has like a different type of like meat they prefer, depending on what type of dragon they are, which I just think is a cute little quirky thing to add to it. They're trying to find out what type of dragon Ash is, and there's this whole little investigation into like trying out these different meats and stuff, which in the grand scheme of this whole book, it's not a massive plot line, but it was just the little things that Holt does to try and bond with Ash. It's like finding his favourite food, try and bond with him and find out what kind of food he likes and what kind of dragon he is, so that he can work with Ash to like build their bond and make it even stronger. Like, every dragon has a core as well, and in order to like cleanse out the impurities that come with using magic, the rider has to like cleanse and forge, which is basically cleansing the core of the dragon so that they can build their bond and the dragon's magic and the rider's magic can grow. And I will link Tori from Tori Talks. She did an author interview with Michael, and he explains it way better than I can. And the reason as to why he made this magic system the way that he did, and the way that he built the world and wrote this book the way that he did, and he explains it so well. Obviously, as an author, he explains it way better than me. But I was totally immersed in this book. I read it in such a short period of time. Like, I I wasn't even rushing through this book either. I took everything in. There's a girl called Talia that we meet along the way. Talia is also, initially, I did not like Talia, but I think that's the vibe that she's supposed to give off, because she's got shit going on. And also you feel like she's maybe a little bit jealous of how strong Ash and Holt's bond is from the beginning. But we also find out why their bond is so strong, and what it is that makes a dragon rider and his dragon bond so well. And I just think that the fact that it's not just a typical chosen one thing, like it's not like prophesized that this boy is gonna come up from nowhere and to do this, and you know what I mean. It's an accidental chosen one, I'd say. He didn't mean to become what he is, but now that he is what he is, and now that him and Ash have this bond, you can't imagine them not being what they are, if that makes any sense. The end of this book left me wanting more, in a good way, in a really good way. I was really excited to dive into Unbound. I couldn't due to like TBR restrictions, but it ends in a way that's not a typical ending to a book, and I don't know how to say much more than that without spoiling it, but I would highly recommend. This is a YA book. It's kind of like a progression fantasy as well, so you will see you see on page Ash and Holt grow together, and in like obviously throughout the book they're getting older, and Ash is growing closer to Holt, and their magic is growing, and they become an Ascendant. Like there's different levels of dragon riders, and the first one is the Ascendant, and in order to reach Ascendant, it's them reaching this level and how they do it. And it's just great. It's great. Like, I keep saying that I'm moving away from YA fantasy, but then things like this come up and they just knock me off my feet. Like, I expected to like this. I really did, because like, if my friends had seen this before me, they would have recommended it to me as something that would be a Lisa book, because it has dragons in it, it has magic in it, it has a massive world, it has, you know, there's a boy and his dragon. It's your typical, what you would see is your typical sort of fantasy lover's dream who likes these kinds of fantasies. And this is one of the types of fantasies that I absolutely love. It gives me warm fuzzy vibes along with it, and a wholesome relationship, and you've got me, and you've got me in a chokehold, and you're not going to let me go. And this is very much that. So what I would say is, if you feel like YA is not your thing, please don't discount this book, because it is, yes, it's YA, it doesn't have like but it has quite, I wouldn't say adult themes, but it has more depth to it. It's not just, it doesn't have like a romance thrown in there just for the sake of a romance being thrown in there. It doesn't have things thrown in there just for the sake of it to make it like an easy to read YA book. It has things that happen that make you cry. If you're someone like me and gets emotional about stuff, it will make you cry. It has things in here that make you think, and you really do root for Ash and Holt and Broad, and as soon as you meet them, you want them to succeed in whatever it is that they're doing. You want them to be safe. You feel like the stakes are high. So I would say please don't discount this book, and if you can get hold of the audio, I highly recommend that you do. Any book that I love, generally you will hear me say please get the audio as well, because immersive reading is just my vibe. Jem said it's the year of the vibes, and that is very much what this is. So I 100% would check this out. I'm currently reading Unbound, and look at those two together. They are just stunning, and you can see how they have grown from this to this. You can see the difference, which I also think is an amazing way of like expressing in an art form, in a picture form, that this is a first book. This is a development of them. And then book 3 is out in July, and again you can see it's more not aggressive, but it's more like a presence Does that make sense? It probably doesn't. I'm probably baffling and babbling, whatever you want to call it. But this, you can, as far as I'm concerned, you can see the progression in the story based on the covers. So this is like baby Ashenholt, like new rider, new dragon, figuring things out, developing, working on the magic, cleansing, forging, meeting new people, trying to defeat the Scourge, and then Defiant. I've got no idea where this book's going to go because I haven't finished this one yet, but this, I'm about halfway through this, I think, maybe, and I am thinking 5 stars again, because this is more of a development in the fact of like developing their bond and finding out what can make their bond stronger. So this is like the forging of their relationship. This is like the main development of the relationship, I feel, and the bonds that they have, and like figuring things out by themselves, figuring out who they can trust, like where they need to go, what they need. It's just a lot of figuring things out, and for me that makes sense. That's just great. But also forgot to mention, political things are in this. So I'm not going to tell you what the political thing is in this, that because that would be a massive spoiler, but it does have, it's not like massively in-depth political things, but there is a political aspect to this, and that sort of can hinder things moving forward. I don't want to say that without, I was going to say much, that's again spoilers, but that's all I'm going to say. It can hinder things like the political, where the politicking works is just balmy. But again, I rambled at you for 14 minutes. If you did not know before this video that I love this book, and I'm currently loving this book, and that I highly recommend this book, these two, I'm going to recommend you this as well, because why the fuck not? I know I'm going to love it. I would recommend this. This is a very good gateway to fantasy as well. If you're not used to fantasy, and you don't want to start off with like your Brandon Sandersons and your epic Ryan Cahill type of adult fantasies, go with this. They are chunkers, but they are such quick reads. It's very easy to follow magic system, very easy to follow world building, and it's just an immersive read. And I believe that if you read this, that you will want to read more. And it's, like I said, it's a great gateway fantasy. So highly recommend. Enough of me babbling at you. If you do like me and you want to see more of me, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you are here and you want to let me know you're here but you don't have anything to say, please leave a black heart, very much appreciated. If you want to pick up the book, I will leave the links down below for the UK Amazon, and I will try and find the American Amazon link as well. Also, I will link Tori from Tori Talks on her author interview down below as well. Go check it out. It was a great interview. I loved watching that. Tori is also a great YouTuber. Please go subscribe to Tori. She does some great reviews, and she does some great author talks as well. And indie recommendations are top tier. So, yeah, that's a shout out to Tori as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.
Every time I fall in love, it seems to be